Peter has been our friend for many, many years. And as you know that not only him, but his parents have been fighting and have fought vigorously against the abuses of human rights in South Africa and so on. And as you know, they have to leave the country because of their fight for human rights. And Peter was a young man, as you know, at that time, who came and started the same campaign here against apartheid and so on. And since then, he has been raising his voice for our rights, for ethnic rights, and those people who have been left behind. He, in fact, he is a friend of ethnic. He is a friend of those people who have left behind. He is a friend of those people who have been forgotten by the political system of this country. He has been speaking for me, he has been speaking for you, in fact he has been speaking for all of us. And that is the reason I have requested you to come and honor him. And every time, wherever we needed him to come and sort of support us in events, he always have been kind to attend our function and came and then he would support to us. So that's why I invited you today. We are obviously, we want to support those people who are our friends. It's the election time, and we will continue supporting his campaign and the campaign of the Labour Party. And as you know, the Labour Party has spelled out 5 pledges for the forthcoming election. And Peter passed a lot for those pledges, and he is obviously advocating. He has done a lot of work behind the scenes for ethnic minorities as far as the Labour Party policy is concerned. And those all little pieces convinced me that I think we, starting with the Labour Party campaign and election campaign, we should provide once again Peter and reassure it, overboard and thank him for this work he has done over the years. Thank you very much once again.
Well, Ahmed, thank you very much. Ahmed Shahzad is a fantastic servant of the Labour Party and of the whole of the community, and I don't think there's anybody held in greater respect for whom people have given greater thanks for your contribution to supporting the Labour Party and the community. And can I say right at the beginning, Assalamu alaikum. I think the support which we have been lucky enough and fortunate enough to enjoy as a Labour Party from the Muslim community in Britain, as we have over the generations, has been absolutely fantastic for us. And I think the relationship, the friendship, is a two-way friendship. We help each other. The Labour Party has always supported everybody in the BME community. We are the only ones who have ever brought in legislation to protect people from racial discrimination, to make sure there's an offence, a law against incitement to racial hatred, a law against incitement to religious hatred, because we've seen, especially in the last few years, the last 8 or 9 years, tremendous attacks on the Muslim community and tremendous attacks on the whole philosophy of Islam from racists in Britain like the British National Party. And I was talking to Omar earlier on this evening, who runs a big media website, and he was saying that you put my speech on from Walthamstow, and I remember meeting many of you here at Walthamstow. And he said many attacks from the BNP on his website attacking my speech because I attacked them. And can I say, it's an honour, it's a badge of honour to be attacked by the British National Party and by the fascists and the racists from that organisation, that evil organisation, with all their racism and their evil creed, which is exactly the same as in Nazi Germany, where people then, in those days, they were attacking the Jewish community. Today they're attacking the Muslim community and anybody who does not have a white skin. And we all know where that leads you. It leads you into the horror of the Holocaust under the Nazis. It leads you into the horror of apartheid in South Africa. And Ahmed Shahzad was kind enough to mention my parents and my own involvement in the anti-apartheid struggle. I still have many people who complain to me about stopping rugby matches and cricket matches from the all-white South African teams when we used to disrupt them and take action, direct action against them. But Nelson Mandela said to me when he came out of prison that those campaigns, which many of you and many in your community supported as well, in the 1970s and the 1980s, he said those campaigns against all-white sports tours were the most effective body blow against apartheid, and he thanked everybody, myself included, for being involved in that. So that is our common background together. We have supported each other, fighting discrimination, fighting injustice, fighting for freedom and democracy for all, whatever their religion, whatever their faith, whatever their politics, and above all, whatever the colour of their skin. Because I remember the leader, Nelson Mandela's, one of Nelson Mandela's predecessors is the leader of the African National Congress in South Africa. He said this. He said, I know of many people who changed their politics, and I even know of some people who've changed their religion, but I know absolutely nobody who's ever changed the colour of his or her skin. And he said that is what makes racism the absolute tyranny, the tyranny that is worse than any other tyranny, political tyranny or any other form of tyranny. And I think that was so true. So that is what unites us here this evening. But it is beyond that, because we're on the eve of a very, very important general election, which could determine the future of Britain for generations to come. In many respects, I think this election is more important even than 1997. 1997 we won with a landslide, and members of your community proudly voted Labour, and we thank you for that. And we have since then invested massively in health service, in education. Before we came to the banking crisis and the credit crunch, we had more jobs than ever before in Britain's history as a nation under our Labour government. 3 million more jobs created under that Labour government, and still, despite the credit crunch and the banking crisis, 2.4 million more jobs than when the Conservatives were last in power. So we had a strong economy, many businesses, and I'm very grateful to all the businesses who are represented here this evening. Many of your businesses play an absolutely vital role in the British economy, and we thank you for that. Because we can't create good hospitals and good schools and good housing for the people unless we have businesses creating wealth in Britain and creating jobs. And that is what members of your community have been so successful in doing, and we thank you for that as well. And that has helped to create a strong economy, so that even though we've had this terrible financial crisis, and I was asked a question about the debt earlier on, and we can talk about that later, nevertheless, we still have more jobs, as I say, in Britain than ever before. Youth unemployment is much lower than ever before, although there are big problems of unemployment, for example, in the Bengali community, big problems which we need to continue to work on and support people, and that's why you need a Labour government. And the reason why I think this election is more important than any I can recently remember is that if the Conservatives are elected, we know what they're going to do. We know they will cut and cut and cut. And not just cut support for vital public services, providing essential public services for those people who most need them, but also support for business. You might have noticed in the budget last week, despite the difficulties in the economy, we are still investing to support businesses in the digital economy, in the low-carbon economy, in the biotechnology, who are creating the jobs of future years to come. And what the Conservatives are saying is we cut all that. We cut not just spending on health and schools and housing and all the other vital public services, we also cut spending to create jobs, to support young people in jobs, and to support public investment in our infrastructure like railways, and our infrastructure like creating a green economy with lots of low carbon jobs, so that we can protect our environment from climate change as well. Government that stands back and says you're on your own is not good government. It's not good government for individuals, it's not good government for businesses, it's not good government for jobs, for the economy and our society. And that is the choice between a Conservative government that is going to come in and cut, between a Conservative government that says, we leave you to yourselves to make your own way as best you can. We won't provide the support that your communities need, that your businesses need. And a Labour government that says it is the job of government